seven days of rainfall. And, in the Midwest, especially lower Michigan, got quite a bit of rain late last week with that front extending down into the mid-Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley. And then as that front tracked east, it wasn't quite as widespread as we were hoping initially, but still some good rain into much of the Northeast, although portions of the mid-Atlantic coast did remain drier. And that's actually likely to continue, although they did get some good rain there early last week before this took place because of that nor'easter. Just kind of looking over the past month to see where we've been. And this goes through yesterday morning, so it does include the last 24 hours. But temperatures overall have been above normal, especially in the Midwest. But as you go farther east, still above normal, but maybe closer to normal, especially along the Mid-Atlantic coast. As far as rainfall, overall tracking a little bit better than we have been over the last few months, but still there are some areas that remain drier, especially Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, portions of upper Michigan. And if you look at the coast in Maine, it also looks really dry. However, like I said, that doesn't really include the last 24 hours of rainfall. And so if I pull that up, this doesn't quite take you to normal, but although maybe in parts of the Champlain Valley it does, but everywhere else at least takes you, a little bit closer to normal, if not near normal, with some of these areas getting, an inch to an inch and a half. So looking a lot better overall. This morning, satellite loop, we have another kind of system going through. This one is going to track a little bit farther north. It's not quite as strong. It's just a nice big upper low kind of moving through the Great Lakes. Like right now, there's a nice surface low kind of located over eastern Lake Superior. And this will gradually track from west to east. So just some, light to moderate showers. Most areas looks like we'll receive rain in the Great Lakes and maybe into the Northeast. Still have some lingering showers heading into down East Maine right now as well. And the morning radar loop shows kind of the main bands precipitation, just that one from upper Michigan down through Lake Erie, and then, southern Maine getting that rain also kind of spreading into down East Maine right now as well. So for today, we do have that surface low, but we're going to have breezy northwest winds behind it. However, RH is going to remain somewhat elevated where the strongest winds will occur in Minnesota and Iowa. As we head farther south into Missouri, RH will drop probably about 25 to 30%. Given some of the rainfall that's occurred recently, not a huge concern, but it's just something to keep an eye on for the next couple of days there with the lower RH. But as you head farther east, a little bit, RH is going to remain elevated with that next cold front. You can see the forecast rainfall from WPC there. It's going to be, generally light in the Great Lakes and portions of the Northeast as well the next 24 hours, and significant fire potential remaining low. But I just left it in there, Southwest Missouri, just kind of that low end, just because it's been a little bit drier there. They didn't get as much rain last week, and that's where kind of the lowest RH is going to be. Also kind of matches up a little bit with what our neighbors have to the west. And tomorrow, as that low weekends kind of moves east, those breezy westerly winds kind of spread more into Great Lakes, Ohio Valley. But again, elevated RH. As you go west into Missouri, still a little bit drier. So that's a little bit, of a concern. But really, the winds are going to be lighter. And then as you head in the Northeast, that we're still going to get some of those showers. Now, we are going to get lake effect on the backside of this. It is going to be quite cold, and the lakes are still quite warm. So we'll get some lake effect showers down one of the lakes. Especially, Wednesday into Thursday, significant fire potential remaining again, overall fairly quite low. And then into Thursday, that the winds kind of, back off a little bit more, spread a little bit farther east. The one area that could be of concern in this, and it's kind of something that's highlighted there by southern area, is just some downslope northwest winds behind the front. Although I'm not quite as concerned there's because eastern West Virginia and those areas have had a little bit more rain, but maybe that far eastern portion of West Virginia, which kind of butts up there with what southern area has been a little bit drier. But overall, most of that PSA looks to be pretty good shape. As you head farther west, RH still relatively dry in Missouri, but overall, the winds are going to be light there. And it does look like we'll eventually get some precip there into Thursday night as the next storm moves in. So the 7-day precip kind of just showing, look for the top for the next 3 days, 2 days and 3 days. Just the light showers in the Great Lakes Northeast, heaviest downwind of the Great Lakes. But as we head into the next week, just the main area that's going to hit probably for rainfall will be this weekend down in southern Missouri with an upper low. It's going to kind of move into the lower Mississippi Valley. So they will get clipped with some, locally heavy rain there. And as that rain spreads east into early next week, that system weakens, so it doesn't really spread that far into the Ohio Valley or into, Iowa and Minnesota. And they're showing that it could happen, but this is, it's all up in the air. It could be a little bit farther west or dig south. So not sure how much rain. And then whatever rain we get here for the next couple of days, it will, you can see this trend. There's really not much additional rainfall once you get to Eakin and early next week in the Northeast. But I think this rainfall is really going to put a big dent into a lot of things, and Cheryl will follow on with that. Just kind of looking a little bit farther out, I've been looking, at the Arctic oscillation. And if you look recently, it's kind of trended more of that neutral, maybe slightly negative. That neutral is at least wetter. It's close to normal, if not normal itself. So that at least, gives us periods of precipitation, whereas, back in, late September, October, early October, it was quite dry because it was positive. That tends to lead towards dry conditions this time of year. Just looking at the two different models, the next storm coming in, just overall looking pretty good, with another round of rain sometime, late. This is more weighted toward the latter half of next week for much of the Midwest into the Great Lakes, and eventually it will get into the Northeast at some point. Just looking at the overall trends, the pattern looks good. Just the one area that may remain a little bit drier would be Minnesota if the storms track a little bit farther south, and then they kind of lift back up into the Northeast. So just something to watch there, but not. I'm not really concerned that it's going to be that much drier. I think they might still get a periods of light precipitation. That's going to, of course, help with the time of year and the lower sun angle. So just kind of going along with that. The next, the 2-week outlook starting in the middle of next week to the following week, really through the end of the month. And Climate Prediction Center seeing, very similar trends to what I am. So kind of leaning wetter overall, may remain a little bit on the drier side, maybe in Missouri and portions of Minnesota. But I think that Minnesota thing is really only like a 30% chance. I have a better feeling that it'll be a little bit wet farther to the south, but it does look, dry just to where, south and west of the, southern area, the southern plains. So just the next to summarize it, really just those breezy northwest winds today in the west. Kind of, RH is elevated overall. Just Missouri will be a little bit lower, where it has been dry. Maybe some, moderate concern in southwest Missouri, but then otherwise the winds are going to back off gradually, into the rest of the week. Light to moderate showers, Great Lakes, Northeast. With most areas, I think we'll receive a wetting rain, a low end wetting rain, and then. Long term drier for a period, but another storm looks to move west to east next week, get to late next week. And I think most areas will see wetting rain, but just that, Minnesota may remain a little bit drier if the storm tracks too far south. That's just the only thing I'm seeing there. But overall, a lot better than it was looking about 3 weeks ago. End the report, pending any questions.